Hello everybody, before we get started this video, I just want to let you all know that I am starting a brand new 2024 series. It's going to be called the 2024 Campaign Trail, and you guys will have 100% control of who's in it and what happens and who wins, essentially. So what you do is go down the description, go to the Google form that's down there, and you'll be filling out these things. Whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever, you just fill it out. A party. Then you go down here and you'll see ideology. Are you far right, center, center left, far left? You just pick one. And then you'll choose 10 Republicans you think is going to run. Just any 10. It don't matter. Just pick 10. It just really doesn't matter. Just choose 10. It could be 10 individuals you think is going to run, or 10 individuals you or would support in 2024, or both. It doesn't matter. You do it for both Republicans and Democrats. And the list is randomized, so there. And then you'll go down here to click submit, and you're done. That's all you have to do. There shouldn't be any more pages unless something pops up. And hey, if you don't identify as any of these parties instead of other party, just click other and type it in. Let's say you're part of the marijuana party. Marijuana legalization party. There, that's all you gotta do. And so, yeah, just go, if you can do any of that, just go down in the description, Google Forms down there, free for you, it's completely free, you don't even have to pay me. Okay, so I know I'm late to this, I have 62 subscribers as of this recording, whoops, and this is a 50 sub special, whoops, but, and it feels like we're almost at 100, Jesus, but anyway. So today we're going to be doing a fun little video for y'all, just for the occasion of hitting 50 subscribers on the channel. Big milestone in my opinion, for such a young channel that hasn't been around for a year. Usually when I do other channels, it takes me 2 years to hit 50, so I feel accomplished. So today we're going to be doing myself, versus President Biden in 2024. And I'm actually going to do this state by state, because I'm going to explain to you what's going to happen. So, Washington, that'll still be safe blue. However, it wouldn't be a 20-point victory for Biden again. I think it'll be 13 points in Washington, just based off the fact that I would actually be one of the first Republicans, modern Republicans, to introduce a very in-depth environmental bill. Same thing with Oregon. It would be similar to 2016, where Biden would win it by 10 or 11. So, they would still be safe, but they'd get a lot closer. California, there's really nothing I could do. It's probably going to be a blowout in California for me. Biden's going to blow me out, not the other way around. But I don't think there's anything I could do. And by the way, I would implement a 50-state strategy. I would go to every single state, starting with, of course, Iowa, and then I would bounce back and forth to other states. Maybe I'll go to Alaska, then Hawaii, then Washington, and just keep traveling across the country. You know, do about 3 to 5 rallies a week, maybe less. And, you know, of course, rallies will get more and more hectic as we get closer to the election. However, I do think I'd be able to flip Nevada, barely. Also, by the way, I've chosen Maine Senator Susan Collins as my running mate. I wanted to select a incumbent senator who was not up for re-election in 2024. Collins fit the bill. I also wanted a woman, to help me with the gender gap. I think having a woman on the ticket helps. And Susan Collins, very popular amongst Republicans, Democrats, and Independents. I thought she could possibly help me win the election. And if on my final shortlist, I also had Kirsten Sinema and Rand Paul on there. So it was her, Sinema, and Paul. All three senators. Sinema was a no-go because she's up for re-election in 2024. Paul's up in 22 and Collins is up in 20, so I just picked so it just happened that I picked a senator from each class. Arizona, I don't think I'd be able to pick off Arizona. I think Biden won about 1 or 2 points. I think the trending in the state, I don't think I could stop it. New Mexico would be a likely state. I think Biden would win it by 8 points. I think I would be able to appeal to the Libertarian Johnson voters, that 3%, which would help me greatly in the state of New Mexico. Colorado, also likely. I do support the decriminalization of all drugs, but you can still get arrested for possession of drugs, of course, like crack and all that. Instead of being charged to go to prison, you would be charged to go to rehab. Normally you would get a 6-month prison sentence for cocaine, for cocaine use. Instead of that, you would get a 6 month rehab sentence. You go to rehab for drugs, and the government would go have increased spending to pay, to make these facilities more effective. Alaska, same thing here. Usually I'd have as likely due to trends, but I think I would be able to appeal to, in my opinion, the only true libertarian state in the country, Alaska, and probably bring it back above 15%. Be able to trend the state really hard back to the right of the country. Hawaii, I don't think I'd be able to appeal to Hawaii. I don't think I could. I'm a southerner. I live in rural North Carolina, so I don't know how I would be able to appeal to Hawaii. Sorry, guys, I just don't know. Our safe states: Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, the Dakotas, all of Nebraska, of course. Nebraska's second. I do think I'd be able to get that closer. I think any Republican would be able to get that closer. I think I'd win it by, or Biden would win it by 3 to 4, against any other Republican. Nebraska's going to trend. Nebraska's second is most likely going to end up trending to the right of the country unless things are really that. Unless Biden does really good with this COVID thing, which, may or may not happen. Kansas, Oklahoma, safe. Texas is still going to be lean, even with me at the helm. Let me just make the chart all nice and pretty here. It's still going to trend. It's going to be a 2 to 3 point victory for myself in Texas. I don't think I'd be able to stop the trends in Texas, despite me having some sort of southern appeal. Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, these southern states will all be safe. South Carolina will also be safe. Iowa will even be safe. Again, the whole libertarian presence within the state of Iowa, I think I'd be able to turn out those voters and win in the state. I do think I'd be able to make Minnesota a lot closer. Like, usually I'd have Biden winning the state by 3 or 4 in Minnesota, but I think with me on it, I think I'd be able to appeal to the independents in the state that, aren't really, mostly vote Democrat, but will sometimes vote Republican. Those voters, mostly Democrat swing voters. So I think Biden would win by 1 or 2 points in Minnesota. Illinois, I think I could try. I would most likely try my hand. I would try my luck in Illinois, see how close I'd get. Definitely. But, definitely not anywhere close to the, election. After the first debate, if nothing is getting done in Illinois where all my attempts are failing, I think I just pull advertising and funding out of Illinois. Not all of it. I keep some advertising in there, but, my goal is to keep advertising in all 50 states. That would be my goal, but of course that's most likely not going to happen. Wisconsin, I think I'd be able to win that by a lean margin, 1 or 2 points. I think I'd be able to appeal to workers, to the white working class in the Rust Belt. Biden would most likely be able to keep Michigan by a lean margin, however, 1 or 2 points again. But I don't think I'd win Pennsylvania. I don't. Even with a proposed environmental plan, I don't know if I'd be able to draw those voters, because apparently, Biden being quote-unquote from Pennsylvania worked. I don't know how the fuck that worked, but it did. Over to Ohio, I'd win it by a likely margin, probably a 9-point victory, similar to Trump 2016 Iowa. Indiana's safe. I think I'd be able to make Virginia closer. I really do think. I think I'd be able to appeal to the really moderate Republicans that were turned off by Donald Trump in Virginia. Now, I'm not a traditional Republican by any means. I'm just very moderate with untraditional ideas. That's just how it is. That's how that works. North Carolina, I think I'd win it by likely margin. I think I'd win it by 5 or 6 points. A Burr 2016 margin, where he won the state by a likely margin. And that's because, North Carolina, we don't get any any presidents representing us. And when we quote-unquote do, they're not actually representing us. They're only saying they're representing us so they can get our electoral votes. But when we've never had someone born, raised in North Carolina, never left the state, and, that's me. And I think I'd be able to turn out a bunch of first-time voters in the state, because, that's that state pride there is. And I think in Georgia, I think I'd be able to flip it. Not by much. Oh, God. It'd probably I'm going to say the second closest state. behind this next state I'm going to call, which again, people have said I'm very stupid for thinking this. I'm just kidding. But I think I'd have enough appeal down in the state to flip it. Again, the whole being southerner and all that, being from the rural area, might be able to appeal to voters in the state. Now we go down to Florida. I've talked about this a lot. Florida has this trend in that, it usually votes with the incumbent president. And when there is no incumbent, it votes the opposite of the incumbent. An example would be 2020. Joe Biden won the election, but Florida still went with the incumbent president. And Florida might still will probably go to the incumbent president in Joe Biden if he decides to run. If not, it'll stay Republican because they'll vote to the opposite of the incumbent usually. Or if Biden resigns, if something happens, if Biden feels like there's nothing else he can do, he's done everything he wanted, he'll resign and he'll leave a good note, or he'll resign in shame, which won't happen because everyone says that about presidents and it's annoying. Or he resigns because of age and Kamala's the incumbent and she'll win the state. Again, yeah, Florida tilt. I don't think I'd be able to beat that trend no matter what I tried. Florida would be a heavy state I'd focus on. New York, these New England states, again, even with the whole, hey, I've got this idea, the opioid crisis, I can help you with that. Or, hey, environment, I can help with that. Or education, I've got a plan. I don't think I'd be able to do much. Absolutely, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, 100%, those would break under 15. 100%. New Hampshire, it would be very close. Talk 2016 margins in New Hampshire. It would be so close, and I'd be so fucking mad in a good way. I'd be mad because I didn't win the state, but I'd be happy because I got the state that close again for the Republican for me, next in line, because I had lost this election, if you can't tell. Probably Florida. And of course, we get to Maine. I would win Maine by a lean margin, if not likely. It'd be a 4 to 6 point margin. I'm just gonna say lean because people would get mad at me if I put likely. And me and Biden would both win our respective districts safe. But I feel like with Susan Collins on the ticket, I'd be able to flip the state. Though you can also make the argument that I wouldn't win the state. An example would be 2004. John Kerry had John Edwards, who was the senator from my home state, North Carolina, and he still didn't win the state of North Carolina. But you also have to remember, North Carolina was won by 12 fucking points in 2004 by George Bush. Things have changed. Okay guys, so here is the map. Hope you enjoyed it. I would lose to Joe Biden by 299 to 239, and this is the map. Sorry if you're disappointed that I didn't win. I appreciate that I'm saying I do not know. That's not what I mean. Absolutely not. But, yeah, tell me what you agree with, tell me what you disagree with in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for 50 subscribers. Also, remember to go down in the description and fill out the form for the new 2024 series. This is the Chaotic One saying, peace.